Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Change the Shed. It is the 19th of January, 2022. I'm so happy you're all here. Gosh, it's another Wednesday, and it is super dreary in Colorado, but it's winter. It's supposed to be dreary. I'm so happy to see you all here. Some of you are chatting about the ATA Media Tour, which has been fantastic so far. Even if you can't watch the live stuff, go back to Instagram and watch the tour later. Mary Zickafoos, yesterday was Tommy Scanlon, and I just think it's going to be a really interesting look at a wide variety of tapestry practices and studios and design stuff. And kudos to American Tapestry Alliance for putting together such a great panel of people. Today is David Hustis. I'm not sure if that's how you say his name, but he's a professor at Vanderbilt University, and I'm really excited to see what he has to say about his several decades of teaching, couple decades of teaching fibers. So, and I assume doing tapestry, and I think he's also a clay artist. So that is wonderful. Y'all are here from all over the UK and Vermont and Texas and Germany and Whidbey Island and Rhode Island and all the islands. Glad you're here. Yes. Okay, great. So I saw. Oh, welcome, Hillary from Sussex in the UK. Welcome, first time you're here. Glad to see you. Before I forget, the next time I will be on Change the Shed, I believe is February 2nd. You can always check that on my website under online learning. There's a thing that says Change the Shed, and there's all the information and links to all the past episodes, of which there are many. I started adding photos of what I was working on that day so you could quickly look through and see if there was something you wanted to see. So I hope that's helpful. Cheryl's asking, could you mention how you did your hem on this piece? So I think we're talking about, let me see if I can add this in the corner. This is what I'm working on still. This is a piece called, well, the working title is Wildflowers. I don't have a final title for it yet, but I'm almost at the top. The top of the piece is right here. And which looks like it's about 6 inches, maybe a little less. So I'm very excited. I might be done with this by the time February 2nd comes around. So you'll have to follow my Instagram and such to see what happens, and the blog, of course. So Cheryl was asking about the hem, and I just saw that before I got on live, Cheryl. And it's funny because I'm now wondering how I did do the hem. I believe my intention, just peeking under at the beginning, and I do make notes about this. So I have a sheet, I have a sketchbook with notes about each piece, and I did make notes about how I was going to do the hems. Because of course they're going to be the side salvages, so it will be important that they look neat. And I wanted to try an actual visible edging, so I'm going to be doing some kind of a plaited braid. I think there's a couple different options, and they come mostly from David Collingwood's The Techniques of Rug Weaving book that you actually will hear Tommy Scanlon talk about it if you haven't watched her media tour video from yesterday. There's a lot of different ways of finishing tapestries or rugs or whatever in that book. So that is my intention, to just do a thin, so there won't be like a hem. There'll just be a thin place where you'll see just the edge of the warp. And I actually think Tommy Scanlon does that a lot on her pieces, and I like it. So I was just going to play with it. This is an experimental piece all the way around. So usually I do hems on large pieces, but this is going to be a new thing. All right. So, oh, Naya, you just got a cinnamon bun from Revolution Bakery. That literally made me salivate when I read that. Revolution Bakery is a gluten-free bakery in Santa Fe, and I was able to go on our way through Santa Fe over the holidays when I went home to see my parents. So Awesome. Okay, well, um, let's all look at some tapestry weaving. How about that? I'm gonna put this iPad aside and try not to break it. And what I'm working on today is this thing. And let me show you. I'm gonna see if I can actually manage this. So here's the whole view of what I'm working on. And I have just finished this tangerine stripe. The next bits are going to be yellow, and then the last ones are a color that's called flamingo, and that will be, these are all just array colors. So the next one to go in is a color called daffodil. And what I forgot to do this morning is, or what I haven't gotten to yet, I'm just going to show you what I would be doing if I were just weaving today. So I do have to wind the bobbins, the bones for the daffodil, so I'll do that in a minute, but let's set up the weaving before we get there. So I'm going to switch to this camera. This is the overhead zoomed in camera. And let's see if I can put this like this in the corner. Okay, there we go. So this is the section I'm going to weave on. This is over on the right side of the piece. And I've finished all the tangerine, but I have not done the outlines yet. So I need to do some outlines. And there's actually a bit of white that goes all the way between these shapes. So that will be a fun thing to put in. And I just am checking, my cartoon is behind me on the wall there, and so I'm just checking where I wanted outlines. On the top of the tangerine shapes, I've already done that outline, and I think I'm not going to do any more outlines across there. So I had extra bits of yarn I pulled off. You need extra bits of yarn to do eccentric outlines. So here's a color that I need. This bit right here is a little bit steep for that kind of outline, but we're going to give it a go. Oh, and look at this. This is just a shedding thing that happens. And hopefully you can see this. See how I was in the shed, I was ready to weave here, but when I get here, the shed here is open. So they were in two different sheds where these hills changed. So that is also why I didn't cut off this tail, because there's always, I had a feeling there was a shedding issue, and so I'm going to use this tail to shift the shed. Actually, I'm going to use 2 strands of this, and I'm going to choose, you probably can't see the colors here, but there's 3 of the dark and 1 of the light, and I'm going to go with 2 dark just to throw in an outline. And then, let's see, the top of this is also going to be in the wrong shed. Oh no, wait, that one will be in the right shed. Let's check. We'll bring this all the way over. My little, the beater I usually use for this is over on that table. I need a little studio robot or something. Okay, now let's check. So we're putting in this outline, and yes, I can go all the way across here. I'm gonna go back to where I did this, and oh gosh, I do need scissors. I was looking for that beater, it's right here. I'm going to trim these a little bit and do a splice real quick. just to spread these tails out some so they're not all bunched up. Okay, great. Now we can bring this, I'm back in the other shed, we can bring this back across. I'm gonna bring it all the way over the top. Not quite to the end because it gets a little steep there, but then we're doing the second half. A studio elf. Yeah, Marla, I definitely need a studio elf. And then I think I'll be in the right shed. So again, always thinking about, do I need double the length of this color? I don't think I do. Just for shifting the shed. If I'm wrong, I either have to take it out or have a couple extra tails, which isn't the end of the world. Okay. That, I don't know how much you can see here. Yeah, you can see that little blip there in an outline. This is the back, but it also indicates, oh, there could be something like that happening on the front, which I don't want. So I'm going to go back to get that little blip out of there. Wouldn't necessarily worry about that if this were you know, down here in the fabric, but for an outline, I don't want there to be a weird thing. And that's something I could have fixed when I got it off the loom with a needle. I could have just, if there was an extra blip of yarn, I could have just eased it along with a needle also. Okay, we're done with that orange. I'm ready to bring the white. Let's just see. Yay, I am right. I can bring this white over the top. I'm also going to need some new butterflies here. Let's use this one just to start. Oh no, I'm totally wrong. Okay, we're going to have to add another butterfly, which is another good way to shift the shed. So let's bring this one back. Let's see, you can't quite see that, sorry. And you get to see me do all the butterflies and such today. So I have a little real high-end bowl to keep my yarn in. This is a yogurt tub with the ball of yarn that is the background color, which is Faro, F-A-R-O, and 3 strands of that and 1 strand of silk from Treenway. It's a undyed, unbleached silk. I think it's a 22 silk. I think that will help you with the size if you're interested in trying some silk in your bundles. Okay. Yep, this will work now. I'm going to get this white outline going. And I don't, you can't see this. This is my cheat sheet, which is now on the loom all the time because I keep forgetting to add the outlines, which are somewhat important in the concept of this piece. So I'm filling in, this is where the next little color comes up. So this just needs to be white. Now you can't quite see the edge of this. I could do, sorry about that, focus. I could do this. So then I'm going to add, let's see, I think I'm going to add another butterfly there. Let's just see what these edge guys are doing. Also need to stitch this. These are the fun things about tapestry. There's always something that needs to be done before something else can be done, and it's kind of, sorry, I'm just sewing this slit really quick here on the right side because this piece is going to hang sideways. This is a slit that's so small I probably wouldn't normally sew it, but because it's going to hang sideways and it's at the top of the piece, just want to make sure it's secure. Okay. So yes, this butterfly here at the edge will be in the wrong shed for what I have set up. So I'm going to be adding at least one more butterfly here to fix that. Hello, Hilly from the Netherlands. I'm happy, always happy when y'all in Europe come. I know it's evening there. It's hopefully a nice, relaxing time. Yes, MH asked, why did you outline in the orange and then white? Just part of the design or a technical reason? Technical. So, let's see. It's a technical thing she's asking about here. She or he, sorry. Come on. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Thank you, camera. So here I have in the same shed an orange and a white, and that is called a split weft outline. And that is something that I teach in Warp and Weft. I can't remember if it's in my book, you guys. That's so crazy. Apparently I need to read my book again, The Art of Tapestry Weaving. There is a chapter about outlining, and I suspect that I did mention split weft outlines. But because if you don't, it's just an optical thing. If you split the color between the two things in the same shed, it will create a crisp straight line. Otherwise, of course, tapestry goes over, under, and so you will not get a crisp straight line. I don't have an example on this tapestry, but you'll just see the characteristic waviness of tapestry. So it's just a way to straighten out the outline. Also, I wanted the outline to smooth out the edges of this. These shapes, I wanted them to be fairly smooth for this particular tapestry. It's also a really fun way to weave. It's a fun technique and I enjoy it, so keep doing it. Marla asked if I'm enjoying the white, and I have to say that I am, Marla. Thanks for asking. Yeah, the white background is kind of shocking, and I think it's going to be interesting when I get it off the loom, hopefully next week, and see what it really looks like. But I am enjoying it. All right, let's put this other butterfly in, and we also need to shift the shed with it. So this butterfly is going this way in this shed, and I need this butterfly to go this way in this shed, but at the moment that shed is open. So that means I need to shift the shed and make it go this way. My brain's slow this morning. And we're going to use another eccentric pass here to make that shed shift happen. I will be doing a little class about shifting sheds soon, so keep your eyes out for that, because I know it's challenging if you're new to tapestry. Okay, so I did it right though, because look, here's this spot, which you can probably, let me make this much smaller. This butterfly that I already brought back is going that way, and this one is going to go this way, and so my meet and separate is happy. Thank you, Marlena. I knew someone would look it up. Apparently, I did talk about split weft outlines on page 258 to 259 in the book. Marlena says she was looking at that earlier, so thank you so much for checking that out. Let's see if I wonder what happens if I add that. Oh, you still can't see the whole thing. Okay, let's see. We'll just do this for the moment. Yeah, so in the Art of Tapestry Weaving, if you go to page 258, there's an explanation of this technique. Which is, once you understand why you would do this, it's a simple thing. I think there's a diagram there that shows you why it is what it is. Okay, great. We're gonna have to fill in this little edge piece, and then we're almost ready for the yellow, which I think might be a little bit shocking. I've mentioned how I am using some colors that I don't typically use, and it's a great thing to experiment. Who knows what I will learn from using colors of somebody else's. I usually dye all my own yarn, and this is yarn from Gist. It's called Array. The colored yarns are. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think it's a great yarn. I'm sorry, I know you can't see this that well, but I'll be done in just a second if I stop talking and start weaving. Thanks to all of you who peeked in the book to find that. A bunch of you found it quickly. I appreciate it. It's been 2 years since, no, sorry, 1 year. Oh my gosh. The COVID time is so different, right? It feels like it's been 2 years since my book came out. It's only been a little over a year. It came out in November of 2020. All right, we're almost there. Everything sort of hinges on everything else when you weave this way with outlines. Unless you do a cutback, which I could have done. I considered using cutbacks in this piece and I decided not to, but in a future piece in this series, I think I will use cutbacks, which are just diagonal lines made in the same color. They're also called lazy lines. And it means you can work on one part of a piece and it doesn't affect the rest of the piece. but it also creates a subtle visual diagonal, which I, for whatever reason, decided I didn't want in this piece. But it would be nice for Change the Shed, because then I could work on the part that I wanted to work on and fill in the rest later. All right, let's see. Can you see? Yes. Just need to fill in this little bit, and then I can put in this yellow shape, which is my goal for the rest of today. Just making sure I get enough weft in there. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna weave this whole little bit right here eccentrically because it's fairly thin. I think it will work okay. See how there's like a little dip there that needs to be filled in. Actually, I wouldn't have to. I could do it like this. Let's see. I can kind of come back here and weave more perpendicular to fill in this little blip. Hill, this little hill. Audrey's asking about the butterfly. So the butterflies with the Faru, this is not a ray. This is a wool that's much grabbier and it has the silk in it. So I'm just making butterflies the way I show in the book. I know I teach them a little differently in Warp and Weft. It doesn't matter. Either way is fine. Basically, I just wrapped around the butterfly and left a little loop so that it doesn't create a knot at the end. So there's just a little slip knot here where I pulled the yarn through. Here, I can do another one. Let me... So I'm not using butterflies with array, Audrey, at all. I'm using Abusan bones because the yarn is too slippery. It just doesn't, yarns that are bundled don't work well in butterflies. But here, this is, I think, what you saw, where I just wrapped it around and then I stick my finger under it and make a loop. There might even be a YouTube video about making butterflies, which probably has the way my teacher, James Kohler, taught me, which is just slightly different. It doesn't matter. Some people have a lot of trouble with the way James did it because it's 2 different knots. So I started teaching it this other way in classes and in my book just because it's simpler and it works fine, but it doesn't matter. Here I'm just filling in this little part. So hopefully that helped. Yeah, when you're bundling yarns, like I'm doing with the array, I have 4 yarns together. Butterflies are pretty unruly. They're pretty hard to keep organized. Okay, I think we're almost there. I'll show you the bones in a second because I'm going to wind some with the yellow because I didn't get it done ahead of time. And then, okay, so I should show you what I'm fussing with. This is what does sometimes happen at the end of the butterflies, even though this is because of the silk that I'm having trouble with this. The silk isn't following the wool quite as well, so sometimes at the end I get a little problem, and honestly, I often just cut that off and throw it away, but you could be a little more patient than me and untangle that. Okay, I'm just sort of going back and forth a little bit to fill this in. Because I'm going to outline it, it doesn't matter that much to me. It's a little jaggedy. I could also have done this outline just eccentrically because it's not very long. I'm trying to demonstrate good practices of keeping your weft moving perpendicularly to your warp. Okay, great. Sorry, I'm out the edge again and you can't see that. Okay, so I'm going to bring this back. I think you can see this, yeah. I'm just going to add a new, see, it was good I wound that other butterfly because now I need it. Paula, that's a great question, asked if my color gradation was darkest at one side and lightest on the other. So almost entirely that way, Paula. My intention was that the dark colors be here at the right. This is darker than this. It's hard, probably hard to see. The light is making it look like this is darker, but this is actually the darker color and it's lighter down on the other side. This is going to be the top of the tapestry up here. So most of the colors are lighter farther down, but I screwed a couple of them up. So we'll see what I think about that when it comes off the loom. Okay, I'm just need like one more sequence here. Okay, now we're ready to put that yellow in. I'm not really ready because I really need to build that up, but could I do that? I could do that. I feel like I need one more light right here. Never enough light. When I was a kid, my dad would come in if he found me reading in the dark or something, or, you know, he thought it was the dark, and turn on all the lights. So I think I somehow learned that I feel like there's never enough light. Which isn't true, because sometimes I go back and look at my videos and think they're completely blown out because there's too much. I had too many lights on, so. All right. This is just going to work out. A little blip right there. Okay, and then great. So now we can put in this outline. And then we'll do some yellow. But first we need the white. This should all be in the same shed because I had two butterflies going in meet and separate here, and so I shouldn't have a shedding error, and I don't. But if I did, it wouldn't be that hard to fix. All right, so there's that. Now we need some yellow. Let's see. This will be part of a series, Nan. Pretty sure I want to do some more of these. I'm going to switch to this camera because I'm going to show you something behind me. I think it's going to be a series, and that is a good question, Christine. She asked if when you're doing a series, if it's important they're all the same size. Not necessarily. It is nice. perhaps when you're doing a series, if you're planning on exhibiting them together, to think about how you want them to look. And I have been thinking about that a lot. There are a lot of ways to tie together a series of pieces though, so they don't all have to be the same size. I haven't decided yet on this. I haven't planned the whole series, so I don't know what the answer will be here. Hello from France and Greece and Spain. Thanks for coming, you guys. So what I need next is, this is the next color. This is daffodil, and I need the darker one. This is daffodil, let's see. This is 2 and this is 3. So there is actually one daffodil color that's even brighter than this. There are only 3 of the daffodils, and I think that's because yellow is the lightest hue, and you don't actually need as many steps to get a gradation in a lighter hue. You'll notice the really dark hues like violet, with only 4 steps, you can't get quite as good a gradation because there's such a wide range of value. So, but in yellow, we have these. So this is daffodil 2 and 3 in array, and I'm going to make the bundle of, let's see, I think I'm gonna mix 2 colors. So I'm gonna make 2 butterflies, or 2 bobbins, and I'm using, hope you guys can hear me. I'll try to talk towards the camera. I'm using Abusan bones. And this is how my grandpa made me these, just little cone stands, and made out of scrap wood. So for this yarn, I am just doing it a piece at a time like this. For when I'm using my own yarn that I've dyed myself, I usually will have 3 balls of each. However many ends I'm using, I will have numerous balls and just pull them all off together. But I also lightly ply the yarn I use, the Harrisville Kohler singles. So I'm doing that on a spinning wheel, and it's a whole different process, which maybe I'll show you some other time. Okay, so now I have about, I think, 4 to 5 yards, and I have a bone, and this is a Pern Winder, which is a little bit, has a smaller thing than a bobbin winder for boat shuttles, but they work the same. So it looks like this. It's called a Pern Winder, and it has a, this is one of those fancy, I think they're made in Sweden. They're really nice. I actually found this one in a junk store or something. I was so excited because these are pricey. So there is my darkest color. I'm gonna weave, I'm gonna do one more so that I have the butterflies to mix them. And this one will have 3 of the darker and 1 of the lighter. Didn't get this done beforehand, but I figured some of you would be interested in how I do it. At least how I'm doing it right now. This is subject to change. When I was fortunate enough to be able to go on a tapestry tour with Christine Colette in 2019 to France, and I was fascinated watching the Abusan workshops wind their bobbins. The one owned by the state of France in Beauvais, which is part of the Gobelin, has a person whose job it is to mix all the colors. Of course, they're doing, I think they had at least 4 big tapestries in process when we were there, but this person's job was to do all of this for all of those tapestries and have the bobbins ready for the weavers. Or I guess these are called bones. They don't call them bobbins. They're for low warp blooms. So now you can see, let's see if I can find the right. So now you can see I've got a brighter one and a slightly less bright one, and I'm just going to just going to put these in. I actually will probably do another one of this mix for this next shape over. Same shed. This is what I did right before on the orange. Now I'm doing it with the yellow. And I'm just looking at my shedding because I want the sides of this shape for the shedding to work. Since I'm going to put 2 butterflies in here, that's going this way. If I want these, the tails of this to be in the middle, I need to shift the shed here. That might have made no sense, but so be it. Oops, I need a little more yarn here. This last pick is optional, and I am using it just as a way to change the shed so that my bobbins are going the way I want them to, my bones. Okay, so let's see, can you see this? Yeah, this shed is open, and I want this one to go this way and this one. And I am checking to make sure, at least with the array, I can actually see the color differences. A lot of times in my own yarn, I can't tell the difference. I have to mark each of the bobbins or the butterflies with a piece of tape with a code on it, which honestly is kind of a pain in the butt, but that's what gives you, keeping track like that is what you have to do if you want super smooth gradations, at least with darker colors. It's that value thing. Okay. Some of you are still hanging on here. I just wanted to get to this point, and I did it, where I have this new color going in. Because, boy, isn't that shocking to see the yellow. So I've done this eccentrically, but now I will weave the rest of this perpendicular. So that means that from here, I'm just going to fill in like this. And I will hatch these 2 colors so they blend. Just like that. So next time you see this, this little piece will be maybe done. I don't know. Hoping it will be done before February 2nd. So yeah, glad it's interesting. I did do the outlet. Oh, Mary, I am thanking you heartily. Right, so Mary says no outline, right? So didn't I say earlier? I mean, I think I said, here, I'm going to make this bigger. I wanted this part right here to have a dark outline. Did I do that? No, I did not. So I will be taking out what I just put in and adding the outline, but I will put my little sheet right there to remind myself when I weave on this evening that I need to put that outline in. Thank you, Mary, because I could have woven that whole shape and then been disappointed and had to decide what I was going to do about missing that. Mary, you get a gold star. Thank you. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for coming. Also, thank all of you who have sent donations for Change the Shed. I really appreciate all of you who have thrown in a couple bucks for paying for the technology for this little free program. And if you want to throw any money towards Change the Shed, it is there's a button on my website on the Change the Shed page. So I just want you all to know how much I appreciate you helping support financially that program. It's been a yeah, here we are again. I've still in the midst of decisions about canceling live things, so it makes things challenging. You're welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me and listening to my rambling way of thinking. And Mary, I will be adding that outline, and I will put a picture on Instagram of the outline going in, probably with thanks to you again. So thanks so much, you all. I will see you on February 2nd, and I have no idea what I'll be showing you then. I suppose if this isn't finished, maybe this again, but I suspect it will be a sample for something new. So that will be fun. I will see you then, and in the meantime, have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.